Somalia is hurting. People are angry. They are tired of violence. They are tired of poverty. They are tired of a government that doesn't seem to listen. All across this troubled nation, people are taking to the streets. They are protesting. They want change. They want a better future. The protests are about many things. People are angry about the lack of security. Al-Shabaab, a dangerous group, keeps attacking innocent people. The government seems powerless to stop them. People are also angry about the economy. There are few jobs, food and water are expensive, life is a struggle for many. The protests are a sign of deep frustration. The Somali people have suffered for too long. They want their voices to be heard. They want the world to know they deserve better. This is a pivotal moment for Somalia. Will things change for the better? Only time will tell. Somalia lives under the constant threat of Al-Shabaab. This group wants to control the country. They use violence and fear to get their way. They attack civilians, bomb buildings, and disrupt everyday life. They are a constant source of anxiety and pain for the Somali people. Al-Shabaab's presence makes life unpredictable and dangerous. People are scared to go to markets, schools, or even religious places. The group's attacks have a devastating impact on the economy, making it even harder for ordinary Somalis to make a living. The government is trying to fight back against Al-Shabaab, but it's a difficult battle. The group is well armed and has support in some areas. The fight against Al-Shabaab is one of the biggest challenges facing Somalia today. Somalia has been caught in a tug-of-war for influence. Different countries want to have a say in what happens there. Recently, the Somali government invited troops from Egypt to come to Somalia. They say these troops are here to help fight Al-Shabaab and bring stability. However, many Somalis are unhappy about this. They see foreign troops as a threat to their independence. They worry that these troops will not understand their country or their culture. They fear that the presence of foreign troops will make the situation worse. The arrival of Egyptian troops has sparked anger and resentment. Some people believe that the Somali government is giving away too much control to outsiders. They argue that Somalia needs to find its own solutions to its problems. The presence of foreign troops is a sensitive issue that has divided public opinion in Somalia. The protests started small but quickly grew in size and intensity. People from all walks of life joined in, united in their frustration and desire for change. From the bustling streets of Mogadishu to smaller towns and villages, the message was clear: enough is enough. The protests have not been without incident. There have been clashes with security forces, and some protesters have been injured or even killed. The government has tried to control the protests, sometimes using force, but the people's anger is difficult to contain. The protests have shown the world that the Somali people are resilient. They are determined to make their voices heard. The protests are a sign that the people are no longer willing to accept the status quo. They are demanding a better future for themselves and their children. Somalia has been through a lot. Decades of conflict have left the country scarred and fragile. The government is weak, and institutions are struggling to function. Rebuilding Somalia is a monumental task. It requires a huge effort from both the Somali people and the international community. There are many challenges to overcome. Poverty is widespread, and basic services like healthcare and education are lacking. The threat of Al-Shabaab continues to loom large, hindering progress and creating fear. Corruption is also a major problem, undermining trust in the government. Despite these challenges, there are glimmers of hope. There are people working tirelessly to rebuild their communities and create a better future for Somalia. The international community is providing support, although more needs to be done. The road ahead is long and difficult, but the Somali people are determined to create a more peaceful and prosperous future. Somalia is located in a volatile region. Neighboring countries have their own interests and rivalries, and these often spill over into Somalia. The Horn of Africa is a complex and interconnected region, and events in one country can have a ripple effect on others. The involvement of foreign powers in Somalia adds another layer of complexity. Countries like Egypt, Ethiopia, and Turkey are vying for influence, providing aid and support to different groups. This can sometimes exacerbate existing tensions and make it harder to find lasting solutions. Somalia's stability is important for the entire region. A peaceful and prosperous Somalia would benefit not only the Somali people, but also its neighbors. However, achieving this requires a concerted effort from all stakeholders to prioritize regional stability and cooperation. The international community has a responsibility to help Somalia. Years of conflict and instability have left the country in desperate need of support. This support needs to go beyond just providing aid. It needs to address the root causes of Somalia's problems. One of the most important things the international community can do is to support Somalia's security forces. This means providing training, equipment, and funding to help them combat Al-Shabaab and other armed groups. However, this support must be accompanied by strong measures to ensure that human rights are respected. The international community should also focus on supporting good governance and the rule of law in Somalia. This means promoting transparency, accountability, and respect for human rights. It also means helping Somalia to build strong institutions that can provide essential services to its people. The protests in Somalia are about more than just specific grievances. They are a reflection of the deep desire for peace, stability, and a better future that exists within Somali society. The Somali people are tired of war, poverty, and insecurity. They want a chance to rebuild their lives and their country. The protests are a sign that the Somali people are no longer willing to accept the status quo. They are demanding better governance, greater accountability, and a more inclusive political process. They want their voices to be heard, and they want their leaders to be held accountable for their actions. The international community must listen to the voices of the Somali people. Their demands for peace, justice, and a better future cannot be ignored. The world has a moral obligation to support the Somali people in their quest for a more peaceful and prosperous future. Somalia stands at a crossroads. The path ahead is uncertain, full of both challenges and opportunities. The outcome of the current protests, the government's response, and the actions of the international community will all play a crucial role in shaping Somalia's future. There is hope that the protests could be a catalyst for positive change. They have shown the world that the Somali people are resilient and determined to build a better future. If the government responds to the protests with genuine reforms and a commitment to dialogue, it could mark a turning point in Somalia's long journey towards peace and stability. However, there is also a risk that the situation could deteriorate further. If the government responds to the protests with violence and repression, it could lead to further instability and bloodshed. The international community must use its influence to encourage dialogue, promote human rights, and support a peaceful resolution to the crisis.